only as a representative of the POLO party, but as a concerned Incognitan citizen. Concerned because today democracy in Incognita is under siege from its own government. A government that ignores the voice of its people, a government that attacks its own people, an authoritarian government that is attempting to turn our democracy into a dictatorship. The Deputy Prime Minister has explicitly stated that he would like to see Incognita become a dictatorship. And clearly it is a view shared privately by the Prime Minister. For instance, this week we have seen the government threaten to throw a journalist in jail for simply conducting an interview with the Deputy PM. Clearly the outlook is bleak for democracy in Incognita. Polls have shown that only 5% of Incognitans support the implementation of a national ID card, and only 10% support the Wireless City project. These figures are less than the proportion of card-carrying URP members within Incognitan society. Alarm bells should be ringing for the government when its own members don't support its policies. Alarmingly, the government has ignored this universal hatred of its policies and is planning to implement them anyway. Does the government think that it knows better than the very people who elected them into office? It must do. This is an authoritarian attitude to governance, one that signals the first stop on the road to a dictatorship. The Mao Zedong era may be a distant memory for most, but it seems the Prime Minister would like to take us on a journey back to the Stone Age by a 1960s communist China. Claims that these policies are a way for Incognita to move forward echo those of Chairman Mao before the Great Leap Forward extinguished the Chinese economy and the lives of 40 million people. Like Mao's failed modernisation project, these policies will result in massive expenditure with very little return. They will stifle our economy, causing a rise in unemployment and a decline in foreign investment. Moving beyond the fact that a democratic government should not ignore the views of its people, let us examine these two policies and illuminate the risks they pose. Firstly, the government's claim that the National ID card project will benefit the economy, when this is a blatant lie. We've already heard the Treasurer announce massive job cuts in the public sector as a result of the project. While it doesn't take an economist to realise that unemployment is bad for the economy, let me be clear, it is very bad for the economy. On top of job losses, the scheme will come at a massive cost to taxpayers. We've been asked to believe that an ID card scheme would be profitable based on mysterious figures supposedly released by the British government. Well, Britain ultimately scrapped its own ID card scheme, but not before wasting billions of tax dollars in the process. Let us examine some real figures regarding the British case study. The British Labour government itself admitted that the ID card scheme would cost £5.612 billion every 10 years. Alternatively, an independent study carried out by the London School of Economics put the figure at around £19.2 billion. As you can see from these figures, the notion that an identity card program is a profit-turning venture is utterly absurd. The identity card project is nothing more than an attempt by the government to undermine the civil liberties of Incognitan citizens. It is an authoritarian measure, one that the government is using to further its dictatorial aspirations. Allow me to turn briefly now to the Wireless City project. Let me state from the outset, I'm not a technophobe and I'm fully supportive of technological progress and development. As a concept, QR codes are exciting, and I'm equally fond of many other technological concepts, including the hovercraft and the time machine. However, cutting-edge technology is the domain of private enterprise, not government. It is the government's responsibility to ensure that the basic human needs of its citizens are met. The Wireless City project ignores this primary responsibility. Not only will it fail to improve the lives of Incognitans' families in any meaningful way, it will be limited to a fraction of the Incognitan population, those living in Slowtown. Within this fraction of the population where the project will exist, only a fraction own smartphones. A fraction of the population constitutes an extreme minority. A cost-benefit analysis of the Wireless City project would highlight the fact that it will cost taxpayers dearly while benefiting only a few thousand people. Clearly, the government has an ulterior motive in regard to this policy. We have no way of knowing what their true motive is, but be sure that it will mark another milestone on the fateful road to a dictatorship. The utter ridiculousness of the government's policies would lend itself to humour, but unfortunately this is no laughing matter. Today I call for the Prime Minister to retract these policies immediately. Failing that, I call for the government ministers to end the Prime Minister's reign of terror and terminate her leadership position. Finally, I call for the people of Incognita to stand together in solidarity against the real and present threat posed to our democracy by this malicious, authoritarian government. Thank you.